Today, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts after using the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra for the past month. Now, there's a lot to like about this phone, but there are also some things that I don't like and that I think you should know about before buying. In this video, I'll be covering everything you need to know. So right away, one of the big changes that the S25 Ultra brings compared to last year's S24 Ultra is a new design, and I really like it. For starters, the sides of the frame are now flat, much like the regular S25, creating a more cohesive design language between the different models. But more importantly to me, the corners on the S25 Ultra are now slightly rounded as opposed to squared off. And this makes the S25 Ultra much more comfortable to hold in the hand versus the S24 Ultra, which over time tended to dig into the palm of your hands. This is no longer the case. On the subject of comfort, the S25 Ultra is also 15 grams lighter and 0.4 millimeters thinner, making it the thinnest Ultra phone ever. All of this adds up to much improved ergonomics that I appreciate every time I pick up and use this phone. Samsung have kept the colors very clean and sleek. I have the silverblue model here, which I think looks very sharp. It also comes in gray, white silver, and also in black. And the S25 Ultra starts at 256 gigabytes and can be spec'd up to 1 terabyte. And as always, I will leave the purchase links down in the description. Alright, so turning to the front, the S25 Ultra gets a slightly larger, now 6.9-inch display and gets a 15% thinner bezel. Now I like this because it allows for more screen size in practically the same size phone. The QHD Plus display on the S25 Ultra is best in class. It is super sharp, bright, and thanks to its 1 to 120Hz refresh rate, it is also buttery smooth and an absolute joy to use. Covering the display is a new Gorilla Glass Armor 2, which is 29% tougher compared to the S24 Ultra. But my favorite feature of this display is how anti-reflective it is. Now, this isn't new to the S25 Ultra, but they've made it even better. And this makes a huge difference to the user experience. For example, outdoors, it blocks out so much of the sunlight, the clouds above, or indoors, it will block out reflections from windows and ceiling lights. And this really makes it much easier to see this gorgeous display and somehow makes it feel clearer compared to other phones. I think this really is an area where Samsung sets itself apart in a big way. But let me know in the comments, which phone are you currently using and will you be upgrading to the S25 Ultra? And if you are enjoying this video so far, a sub to the channel would be ultra cool. Okay, let's talk about AI. Now, Samsung and Google have partnered to bring a range of new AI capabilities to the S25 Ultra. My favorite of which is if you bring up the new Gemini and Bixby hybrid assistant, you can give a command that spans between 2 or multiple different apps. For example, when is the next Pitbull concert in London, and add it to my calendar. Notice it first did a Google search for when the next concert is, and then separately and automatically created an event for that date and time and added it to my calendar. Not only is this impressive from a technical capability perspective, it actually also saves me time, and as a result, I find myself using this voice assistant more than I do on other phones. But there's more AI, such as the Now bar, which shows the current activity such as workouts or recordings, letting you see and swipe through app info at a glance, kind of similar to the iPhone's dynamic island. There's also the Now brief, a personalized overview which changes throughout the day based on how you use your phone. Now for me, I found this feature to be less useful. It often just shows me the weather and things like my upcoming calendar events, but this is something that the widgets on my home screen already do just fine. What I do really like is the better search in settings. So instead of, for example, having to remember the exact name of a setting, you can type in a more natural language to find what you're looking for. Like keep the screen on when locked to quickly find the always on display settings. AI Select is now also upgraded, being able to detect what you select on screen and give you actions based on what you're selecting, such as photos, videos, or text, and you can also quickly generate a GIF from a video. Within the video editor, you also now have the audio eraser tool, and this can be used to remove background noise and make voices more clear. And I've actually found this to work really well. Check this out. All right, let's see. This is my voice currently with some cars as well as other people in the background. Let's see if you can hear me clearly over this beautiful day here in London. The generative editor is also much better compared to last year and better than much of the current competition. Samsung is far in the lead here. Now there's a whole slew of more AI features, but in this video I just wanted to highlight the key ones that stood out most to me. One big question though around AI on the Galaxy phones is, according to Samsung, these features are only going to be free till the end of 2025, meaning we'll most likely see an ongoing subscription fee charged from there onwards. Now, I'm not really happy with Samsung's approach here, not only because this likely means one more subscription to pay for, but also we as consumers don't know yet which features will be free and which will be paid. I really hope we get some more clarity on this soon. Having said that, I am impressed by some of these new AI features. The cross-app integration in particular is not only cool, but actually genuinely useful. And this brings us to the camera. Now, on the S25 Ultra, Samsung have kept the hardware mostly the same, with one exception, and that is that the ultra-wide lens now has a 50 megapixel sensor instead of a 12 megapixel sensor. Other than that, most of the camera improvements are going to be software related. And this starts with the camera app, which I noticed is less cluttered than before, making it look more clear and easier to use. I also found that taking photos in general just feels snappier, with less shutter lag, letting you more quickly snap many photos in a short period to not miss that special moment. But now let's take a look at some real-world photos and video from the S25 Ultra. The main 200 megapixel camera is excellent, producing images that are rich in detail with high dynamic range and Samsung's signature color profile, natural with a touch of vibrance for pop. What struck me with the S25 Ultra is there's less color shifting when switching between lenses, allowing for more consistent photos. I like this a lot and means I switch between the lenses more often for more creative photos. The upgraded 50 megapixel ultra-wide lens, now with 4 times the resolution, is a big step up from last year, showing better detail and texture. Plus, the macro shots also from this lens are noticeably clearer too. The 100x zoom is still not great in terms of quality, kind of falls off beyond 30x, but the super zoom can still be useful more as a tool to, for example, see a faraway sign. The S25 Ultra also uses AI to artificially enhance fine details in your photos, and I found in most cases this works well, adding some sharpness to the image and making it look better, though at times it can be slightly overdone. I was pleased to see overall less noise in lower light photos or darker parts of the images compared to the previous S24 Ultra, and this gives a more clean image overall. I have to say, in some scenarios, I actually prefer the photos from the S25 Ultra over the iPhone 16 Pro Max, particularly when it comes to skin tones, which are more true to life on the S25 Ultra, and this is something I've not seen before. In video, you can now record in log, which records more color and light information for more flexibility in editing, much like on a Pro camera. Speaking of Pro, you can also access features such as zebra patterns and false color in Pro video mode to set exposure, which as a content creator, I really appreciate. Video footage is improved too. Compared to the S24 Ultra, video has more detail, is brighter, and has less noise, and is just better looking overall, but still not as good as video from the iPhone. Last year's S24 Ultra already had an incredible camera system. Now, while the S25 Ultra doesn't add much, it does make some noticeable refinements in the detail and noise, which do add up and firmly place the S25 Ultra's camera system as one of the best you'll find today. But what about performance? The S25 Ultra is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite 4 Galaxy chip, and it absolutely flies. You can see it in the benchmarks. Compared to the S24 Ultra, we get a roughly 30 to 40% increase in performance. The 25 Ultra also has 12 GB of RAM and a 40% larger vapor chamber for better cooling and sustained performance, for example, while gaming. And I gotta say, using the S25 Ultra, it is not just the fastest Ultra phone, but also the smoothest Ultra phone so far. You can really feel its high level of optimization combined with its level of performance, which create a snappy and fluid experience. More so than any other Galaxy phone before it, Samsung have really done well here. The S25 Ultra ships with Samsung's latest One UI 7, and I really like it. It feels more polished and friendly, and more visually consistent. It somehow reminds me a little bit of iOS on the iPhone, and I mean that only in a good way. At the same time, One UI 7 is also more customizable. Widgets can be adjusted more precisely, and the new quick settings page can be fully customized. Now, with an expensive phone like this, it is important for it to last, so thankfully Samsung promised up to 7 years of major Android software updates, and I really love to see this. Of course, the Ultra still packs the famous S Pen, and I like to use it to quickly take notes on my screen or to write in my calendar. But unfortunately, Samsung have downgraded the S Pen by removing the Bluetooth functionality, so it can no longer be used as a remote shutter or for gesture control. I'm not sure why they did this, but a downgrade is not something you would expect on the newest phone. Let's talk about battery. So the S25 Ultra packs the same 5000 mAh battery as the S24 Ultra, but now with its more efficient processor and display, it does get even better battery life, resulting in around 1 extra hour of video playback. In my testing, I found the S25 Ultra to perform exceptionally well, with around 9 hours of screen on time, which is amongst the best I have ever seen. Even better than the iPhone 16 Pro Max, where on the S25 Ultra, I'll typically end a day with around 40% battery remaining. Unfortunately, the S25 Ultra has no magnetic charging, so you can't just instantly align and place your phone to charge, like on a standing charger for example, without getting an additional extra case. I really enjoy MagSafe functionality on the iPhone, and I wish Samsung could have added this to the S25 Ultra. Okay, so for $1,299, is the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra worth it? This really is a year of refinements, the most notable of which to me are the new design, the array of new AI features, as well as the camera improvements, making the S25 Ultra without a doubt one of the best smartphones that you can buy today. But if you want to save some cash, you can now get last year's S24 Ultra for much less, and if you're looking for value, this is a good place to look. Still, with the S25 Ultra, if you're coming from say the S23 Ultra or S22 Ultra, you'll really feel a big difference in the many quality of life improvements that the S25 Ultra brings. The S25 Ultra is without question one of my favorite phones to use. Let me know if you have any questions at all. As always, I will leave the purchase links for the S25 Ultra down in the description. And if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend you check out my Galaxy First Things to Do video, which I'll leave linked on screen right now. I want to also thank you all for your patience. It is so good to be back to making videos. I really miss it, and I've got a lot of great content planned, so be sure to stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care.